And then in grade 12, I was kind of, last year for high school baseball, kind of just messing around, but it was fun. I guess what I took away from it most is that no matter what level you're playing at, you still got to be locked in, because a guy can come out throwing 35 miles an hour and you can swing right through it.
All right, I'm ready. Welcome back to Unlimited. We got a sports-heavy episode today. First of all, hit the subscribe button. We've got a great guest today. Former White Oak Secondary School star baseball player and now Trinidad State Junior College in Colorado outfielder, center fielder, who batted .321 last season and had 24 walks in 22 games. This guy is intimidating at the plate. It's Ethan Hammond. Ethan, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Not bad. Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. It's been good to get you on. I've been trying to get you on for a couple weeks. You told me that you were pretty busy. What have you been up to?
Yeah, just been working. I'm in class right now, online classes, so pretty packed schedule with baseball, work, and school.
For sure. So where have you been working? What's this work like been for you?
I'm doing lawn care right now, just whatever I can find, but work days are usually about 11 hours, so
okay.
Grind and then head down to baseball at night and then do a little homework before I go to bed.
Okay, so you've been doing like your workouts and stuff. Have they been sending you videos and stuff on what to do?
No, I put my own thing together based off of what they're doing, obviously, but it's just more of keeping myself in shape for when I head back down there.
Okay, sounds good. So you're doing that at night. So you got the gym availability. You're still able to go to the gym now?
I actually don't know what the new restrictions. I have to find out if I can head back next week, but so far it's been all good. I've been using the old facility, so.
Okay. I mean, are you going? Is that in Oakville? Because I think Oakville will stay open.
It's in Mississauga. So,
oh, that might be shut down. That might be closed.
I know.
You're gonna have to set up like a new workout place at your home.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to ask, how have you enjoyed playing at Trinidad State and studying in Colorado so far?
It's a neat experience. I mean, it's super different than here. Obviously, I'm living in a pretty small town. White Oaks is bigger than the school I'm at right now. So
for real? Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
So it's been weird. It's all a sports school though. Like every student there is an athlete, belongs to an athletic team. So everybody there's got something in common, and the actual playing baseball and travel was pretty easy to transition into. It's been good down there. I like it.
That's good. What are you studying there?
So I'm studying exercise science there.
Okay.
This semester I'm getting my last prerequisites done, human anatomy and physiology.
All right.
So looking to go into an athletic training field, something like that.
All right, nice. Talk to me about how you got into the school and, like, I guess end of high school. I'm sure you're getting a ton of offers from other schools. Just talk to me about that process, how they reached out to you, and how you ultimately became a player there.
So funny story, actually, my coach in high school for the Ontario Blue Jays, he coached with my current head coach in Oklahoma some 10 years ago. So they knew each other from way back, nowhere close to where either of them are at right now. But I had a couple other offers, but these guys just by far the best offer. Money combined with playing opportunity. I couldn't say no.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, shout out to you. You've always been a great player. It's very well deserved. I want to go back a little bit now and just talk about like your upbringing, your childhood, and like how you ultimately got yourself into baseball. Because I know most kids in Ontario, they might not go to baseball as their first sport. They might choose hockey or even soccer. But I'm pretty sure your first sport was baseball, right? That's the first sport you started playing. So what was kind of that influence for you? Was it like your parents? Was it just, you grew up watching baseball at home? What was it for you?
It was actually my parents. I would always, while they were playing a slow pitch, I would always be at the field. I thought it was real interesting. But
Okay.
I did end up playing hockey and soccer when I was growing up. Soccer didn't last too long because it was during baseball season.
True.
But I played hockey up until I was 17. But baseball just far and above. I was the best at it, so I kind of took it and ran.
Yeah. I mean, you're also good at hockey too. Like throughout elementary school, you're pretty dominant in house league for the few years that you played, and then you played rep. So I was doing some research on you. Do you have an elite prospects page?
I'm not sure. I might have one from when I was in the I was playing AAA during the OHL draft year, so I might have one.
Okay.
But I don't know. I never really took hockey that like serious like I did with baseball. So
Oh no, I remember. I remember there's like one championship game that I went to and you were playing. I think like remember Austin Hundred? I'm pretty sure he was on your team.
yeah,
And you got a penalty. You were just like chilling in the penalty box, like laying on the seat and stuff. It's like having fun with it.
yeah, that was me in hockey.
Yeah, I know that. Hey, it's good times, good times. But yeah, so you played soccer too? I didn't know that. Played soccer for a couple
only for a
years?
year or two. Yeah, but
Okay.
unfortunately, it was during baseball season, so
Right.
I had to drop it. I didn't enjoy it that much either, so I was just trying things out when I was younger.
Yeah, for sure. I think like I played soccer for 1 year as well, but ultimately baseball kind of overtook that. Um, so you played Oakville A's growing up.
Yep.
That was kind of like, the biggest, I guess, in Oakville. That's probably the biggest level of baseball that you can play. Oakville A's AAA. How was that experience playing for the A's like for you? And what have you, I guess, taken away from that moving forward now to college baseball?
Super cool playing with the A's. Played with pretty much the same people all 5 or 6 years I was there, so got to know them really well. As far as what I took away from it, I think it really just gave me a base of what I understand about baseball now for when I was ready to move on to Mississauga and then eventually to the Ontario Blue Jays and then into college. But I think baseball is just compiling what you learn over the years and kind of making something of it. So every level you play at, you can kind of take something from it.
How did you get into OBJ? Because that's a pretty big step as well. So you played A's, then you played in Mississauga for a couple of years, and then you decided to take the step to Ontario Blue Jays. So how did that come about?
So when I was 15, I went and played in Mississauga. Our Oakville A's team folded. So I went into Mississauga, and my head coach was actually Chris Naylor, is knowing Josh Naylor's dad, who are big parts of the Ontario Blue Jays. So as I was playing there, I was getting recruited by the recruiting director at the time, Sean Travers, for the Ontario Blue Jays, and basically liked what he saw. And I had a kind of a beeline into that program because Chris Naylor was the coach. So it was actually a very easy transition after that.
Okay, nice. And what position were you playing there? Were you still, trying to become a pitcher, or were you mostly an outfielder or infielder?
I pitched a little bit when I was 15 and even into when I was 16, but I knew that I was eventually going to give it up. So I was spending more time actually playing second base and then transitioning into the outfield when I turned 16, just because I also pitched at the same time. So throw you in the outfield, save your arm a little bit.
For sure.
But, the outfield is really where I ended up and what I got good at. So that's where I am right now.
I guess it's also the speed factor too, because people might not know, but you're actually like really fast, and you're fast on the ice. You're fast on the bases. But you were a really good pitcher, and you probably have one of the best curveballs that I've seen like in person. I remember like you pitched a couple times for the White Oaks team. Yeah. Is that curveball still intact? When was the last time you threw a curveball?
I don't know. It might have been for a White Oaks.
Might have been that.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Geez, you gotta get it back to the old shape.
Maybe.
How would you grip it? Would it be the 12-6 that you do?
No. I wish I had a baseball.
You need a baseball, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe.
No, so I would have like my finger up like this on it.
Oh, like a spike curve.
Yeah, like a spike. Yeah.
Okay,
But
nice.
yeah, that's how I would hold it. I never really got into the 12-6 because I learned when I was pretty young I didn't want to be like snapping my elbow around because I started throwing it when I was pretty young. So I kind of just got a grip that would do all the work for me.
And what other pitches did you learn when you were young that you kind of continued throughout high school to use?
Um, learned a fastball, obviously, four-seam fastball. I played around with a little two-seam. Didn't end up using it that much just because I couldn't really get it down. But fastball, curveball for sure, and then I had a little changeup in there as well. Wasn't great, but could break it out once in a while.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I think I ended up facing you maybe once in like house league because I know one year I think maybe it was after the year the A's folded. You decided to
We played
play
house league
for
for a year.
OLL, right? Yeah, you played house league for a year. I
Yeah,
think you guys won the championship that year, which makes sense.
I was playing. I was actually playing for two teams that season. So
Right? Yeah. What was the other team? Was that Mississauga?
no, I was 14 at the time,
Okay.
and I couldn't get released out of Oakville, so I was playing for a team called the Diamondbacks in Burlington.
Okay.
They're in a different league, and I played Little League. I can't remember why I decided to go play Little League that year, but I ended up doing it. It was a real fun time. It was kind of relaxing, which was good because I ended up getting injured that year. I dislocated my elbow, so
Oh man. Did you?
yeah.
How did you dislocate it? Like playing OLL or playing with the Diamondbacks?
No, I dislocated it playing with the Diamondbacks. Yeah.
Just pitching, I guess.
No, I was diving for a pop fly, and
Oh
I
gosh.
landed on outstretched arm, and my elbow just almost touched my shoulder.
Jeez. So was that grade 9, I guess, or grade 8
I
around
guess it
that
would have been
time?
grade 9. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I
maybe
remember
maybe
that.
grade 8, maybe the summer between 8 and 9. I'm not quite sure. It's been a while though.
I mean, yeah, I guess I can vaguely remember you being injured maybe at the start of grade 9 and we were like unsure if you were going to play in the summer with us.
Uh huh.
Maybe that makes sense.
Yeah, it might have been, but yeah, it was definitely grade 8 or 9. I'm pretty young.
Pretty young, yeah. Yeah, thank God you recovered. That's fully healed now. No more elbow problems.
No, no more.
Okay, good. No
Not
Tommy
yet.
John. No Tommy John. That's good. Um, I think other people want me to talk about White Oaks with you and like how that team was and stuff. Did you take anything away from playing high school baseball at White Oaks with, I guess, well, Coach McKinnon in grade 9 and 10? Then obviously you guys didn't have a team in grade 11. Not enough guys. Sorry about that, by the way.
Mm.
And then grade 12 back at it. How was it playing high school baseball for you? Was it kind of just like, a bit of a step down from what you've been playing? Or how was that experience? Because it's not like the States, right? If you play high school baseball in the States, it's a lot more competitive, a lot more better players. But playing in Ontario, playing at White Oaks, might not be the biggest stage for you.
I mean, it was fun. I expected it to not be at the level of where I was playing. I expected to go in kind of, to have a good time. And we actually ended up having a really good team those first 2 years. And I think we ended up winning in grade 10. We kind of ran through everybody there.
No, grade
But,
9. Grade 9 we won.
oh, grade 9, was it?
Yeah. Grade
Yeah.
9 we won Tier 2 championships and Nelson Tourney.
And
And
then
then
what did we do in grade 10?
grade 10 we won the Nelson Tourney again, but we didn't make the playoffs in
Right.
like the regular season.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was a really good time. We had a good group of guys. And then in grade 12, I was kind of, last year for high school baseball, kind of just messing around. But it was fun. I guess what I took away from it most is that no matter what level you're playing at, you still got to be locked in. Because a guy can come out throwing 35 miles an hour and you can swing right through it. Kind of make yourself look bad.
It's like a changeup, right? Just don't
Exactly.
expect it. No, I mean, even in the majors that happens sometimes. It just freezes guys. I think Zach Greinke used like a 60-mile-per-hour pitch this year. Just froze the hitter. So
Yeah, it's
happen
tough
at any
when you
time.
mix it in with a pretty hard fastball.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, those are definitely good times there.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, like the next step for you would be getting drafted and hopefully then promoted to the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
How confident are you that you will actually get drafted to the majors at some point?
It all really depends on how the next couple years go. I'd say I'm still pretty far off. But if the next couple years go well, and I kind of put up some pretty big numbers in college and get the right opportunities seen by the right people. I mean, it is possible, but right now it's kind of a farther off thing. I'm more focused on finishing school, and just playing well for my college team. And if a MLB draft chance comes by, then that's great. But if not, finish school, get a degree.
Yeah.
Kind of the rest of my life started to get set up.
No, I think that's a really good plan to have. I think if the pieces fall into place, then they do, but you always have to have that backup plan.
Exactly.
But no, I think a team would definitely be missing out if they didn't select you. So I think, all the MLB teams listening, all the managers listening to this podcast right now, doing their research. They're doing their pre-draft research right now for next year's draft. Ethan's a pretty good bet, so I would bet on him. Any advice that you would like to give to someone who's looking to go pro for baseball?
You just got to keep working at it. I think, especially coming out of Canada, I don't think anybody really understands the level of baseball that you have to get to that level. Because you can get down into the States and get your doors blown off a little bit. I don't think they understand how many players there are that are good in America.
Yeah.
Compared to here, it's a pretty tight-knit group of, all the best players know the best players. But in America, it's magnified by 1,000. There's just so many of them. So I think you really got to keep that in perspective, of these are my goals and this is how I'm going to reach them. And also know that, if not everything works out, have a little backup plan, have something you can focus on.
Yeah, 100%. Was that a tough transition for you at first, going to the States and playing with all these guys who are obviously like really good at what they do?
It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, because the Ontario Blue Jays prepared me so well for it. They said, hey, like, look, there's going to be some really good players down there and you're really going to have to compete. It's going to be a lot tougher than it was here.
Yeah.
So I went in with the mentality that, this is going to be tough. I'm going to have to, show up every day and do what I have to do. And I think that really helped me in solidifying and winning a spot there. But obviously, I also understand that if somebody wasn't prepared like that, how tough it would be to get put in that position.
So do you think that like OBJ is kind of the spot that you have to reach if you want to continue your career as a baseball player in Ontario? Or do you think like, okay, I played Oakville A's, I played in Mississauga, I played with all these rep teams. Now I'm going to look towards, going to the States. Do you think that OBJ is kind of like the landmark if you want to pursue baseball?
Definitely one of them. I'd say probably one of the best in Canada, but even in Ontario, there are a lot more now, that are growing and are getting more credible.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think a little bit too many, but OBJ definitely one of the spots that, if you decide, hey, this is what I want to do with baseball, I think definitely something you should look into.
All right. I think that's pretty good. That's a very good start to the show. Let's jump into some sports talk now because
Sure.
this is a sports based show, I guess, and we always talk, MLB, NHL. Ethan is big on baseball. He's also big with the majors. He probably keeps up with a lot of that stuff. MLB postseason. We're right in the thick of things here. Championship League series coming up. We got the Dodgers and the Braves, and then the Rays and the Astros. What are your thoughts on the Dodgers and Braves series so far, and who do you think is going to win?
I want the Braves to win. I got the Dodgers winning though. I think the Dodgers just overall just a well-rounded team, just flat out better than the Braves. But I do like some of the players on the Braves that are maybe some wild cards. If you got a guy like Dansby Swanson that can kind of pop off for a series, maybe Ozzie Albies. I think they definitely have a shot, but overall, I think the Dodgers just a better put together team.
I mean, yeah, on paper for sure. Like Betts, Bellinger, Muncy, all of these guys, and then their rotation as well with Kershaw. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Braves. I was hoping that the Padres were going to be able to pull off the upset against the Dodgers, and Fernando Tatis Jr. would just go off.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a good team as well. Machado, he could have came back to bite the Dodgers. They got Hosmer. They got a bunch of guys. I think they're a team that's, heading in the right direction. They're going to be good next year. But yeah, going back to this series, I think I got to agree with you. I want the Braves to win just because the Dodgers are the favorites. It's always good to cheer for the underdog. And they're a fun team to watch as well. Ronald Acuna Jr. is just tearing it up this year as well.
Yeah.
Then what about Rays Astros? Who do you got for that one? I assume you want the Rays to win, right?
I would like the Rays to win, and I have the Rays winning. I think their pitching is just incredible. Frankly, I think their lineup can compete with the Astros as well.
Really?
The Astros have a pretty star-studded lineup, but I think the Rays have a lot of players that are slept on. So I do have the Rays winning that series against the Astros. I think it'll go the distance, but I like the Rays in that one.
That's pretty big. I do have to agree that the Rays starting pitching is crazy good with Snell, Glasnow, and Morton. The Astros bats, they've been good. I think a lot of people were saying that, okay, maybe it's just because of the whole trash can thing. These guys are going to be sleepers this year now. They're not going to do well in the playoffs, but they've kind of proved everyone wrong with the last series. And I don't know. I think they could fare well against the Rays pitchers.
I have to agree with you somewhat there, but at the same time, the Astros haven't exactly faced any dominant pitching staffs in the playoffs this year so far, and even through the regular season in their division.
Right.
I mean,
okay.
Obviously they're only playing their division, so they're not exactly facing the dominant pitching staffs of the American League East or the National League East. So it's interesting to see how they'll fare against the Rays, obviously, who have three Cy Young candidates or Cy Young quality pitchers on their staff.
Definitely. Yeah, you're right about that. Geez, I don't know. It's a tough matchup. I think I'm going to take the Astros just because I want to see an Astros-Dodgers final. I want to see that, and I want to see Joe Kelly go up against some of these guys, Bregman again. And I think that would be a crazy performance. Views would skyrocket. But I want to talk to you about the opener, and that's been a big thing in baseball the past couple of years. We've seen the Dodgers do it. The Rays, I think, started it. We saw the Jays do it a bunch last year. What are your thoughts on having an opener or a starting pitcher come out for 1-2 innings, start the game off, and then go to the bullpen?
I like it. I like it from on paper standpoint. I think that a lot of top quality starting pitchers in baseball today will strongly disagree with it because they want the ball from the first inning. They don't want their routine, their warm up cut short by having to warm up in the second inning because an opener is taking their starting spot. But on paper, I think it should work almost every time because obviously you know how hard it is to get a bullpen guy that's coming out throwing 98, 100 and face him at the start of the game. So if they can get that top of the order out and give way to a starter, let him settle in against the middle, bottom part of the order, I think it would work great all the time. I'm a big fan of it.
Do you think it really just depends on how good your staff is, though? And like, say the Rays, right? They used to do the opener thing, but now they have guys like Snell, Glasnow, and Morton. So it might not work for them anymore. Maybe it works in like a game 4 when they have to go to their fourth guy. Do you think it's really just determined on like how good your starting pitchers are?
Partly, yeah. And I think a lot of teams that you see better starting pitching with, you won't ever see an opener because if you're getting an all-star quality starting pitcher, they're going to say, no, I'm taking the ball from the first inning, and they're not going to give their manager a choice. But with a team like the Rays, obviously Kevin Cash, kind of crazy skipper. He'll use an opener, and he'll put Glasnow in after, which I think is it's very tough for an opposing lineup to face a fireballing relief pitcher to start the game and then get your top quality starter after.
Yeah.
I think it's a very, very tough thing to do.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. It's definitely a cool strategy that was implemented a couple of years ago, and I think we're going to see a lot more teams use it. And I think it could be a big factor in who wins the World Series this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think the Braves are going to win, or sorry, you think the Dodgers are going to win, but you want the Braves to win.
Yes.
But your World Series prediction is Dodgers Rays. Who's going to win the World Series?
I gotta go with the Dodgers for the World Series.
The boring pick.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately, but I can't see the Rays beating the Dodgers, especially with the World Series being in the West Coast. Or is it in Texas? It's in Texas.
It's in
right?
Texas, yeah. You think that has a factor, location?
Not as much as I thought. I thought it was in Los Angeles,
okay,
or
so
in
that
San Diego.
Okay.
Sorry,
right.
I think the neutral site. I don't think it'll affect either team that much. Home away, they're both playing in a pretty unfamiliar place.
Yeah,
but I can't see the Rays beating the Dodgers as much as I want them to. I think even as good as the Rays pitching is, the Dodgers offense is just a little bit better.
I think the Dodgers offense is a lot better, but yeah, you're right about that. It's tough to go against the Dodgers, and they've been knocking on the door for so many years. They got to actually win it eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what my pick would be. I'd probably say Dodgers as well, but I don't want it to happen. I don't want the Dodgers to win, and I don't want the Astros to win. I'd rather the Braves just upset them and the Rays upset the Astros as well, and then they face off in the final. But I guess we'll find out. Championship series starts tomorrow, so tune into those games. Let's talk about a team that was eliminated, Toronto Blue Jays. What do they need to do this offseason? Because, this year, I think it's still kind of a rebuild, but a bunch of the young guys are now there. Bichette, Guerrero, Biggio, Pearson's up there now. A bunch of other pitchers in the bullpen. Patrick Murphy's there. And they added Ryu. They went out last offseason, and they actually brought in some good quality players. But it didn't work out. They lost in 2 games to the Tampa Bay Rays. They got swept. I don't really think it's a sweep since it's only 2 games, but hey, whatever. What do you think the Jays should do this offseason to help this team next year?
They need starting pitching, definitely, even though they went out and got Ryu. Over the course of a season, you're going to need 5 quality starting pitchers that can eat up some innings. So definitely starting pitching. Which is the same for a lot of teams around the league, actually. They need some starting pitching. But I think the Blue Jays also need they need to add an outfielder, a legitimate one that can bang a little bit and come in and play, probably center field. I don't really see Grichuk as a center fielder. As well as he played this year, I don't really see him as a center fielder. And they need to add a big bat that can come in and DH. Probably DH first base, flip between him and Vladdy. But definitely starting pitching priority, and then, maybe a bat or 2 in the lineup.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying for years, I think that Grichuk is not the right guy. They got to get him out of town ASAP. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you watched the episode that I had with Tyler, but we were kind of going back and forth on that Grichuk thing as well. Yeah, I agree. I think they got to find a better outfielder. I think Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is probably a lock to be the future left fielder. Mm-hmm. Then in right field, Hernandez had a phenomenal year, but is he really going to keep that up moving forward? And then Grichuk, he had a great year as well, but it's just the 1 year, right? It's just like a 60-game season. How much can you really base off of it? And then the infield, I guess, I think they got to find a third baseman, to be honest. Jordan Groshans is coming up, and he might be the guy. But I think they need to go out and they need to get a third baseman because Vladdy has made the transition. He's not going back to third. He's going to stay at first or DH. What are your thoughts on them maybe going out and getting someone for third base?
I like it. I think Jordan Groshans is still a little ways away from playing at the major league level. I mean, that's somebody that I used to play against, and he's still young. So
Okay. All right.
I
Shots
think he's a
fired a
little
little
ways
bit.
away from the major league level still. But I like their infield. I like Biggio. I like Bichette, obviously. And then they have a couple other guys that can play the middle in Espinal and VR. But I do agree. I think they need to go out and try to find a third baseman, especially if Vladdy's not going to be that guy there, and he's just going to be a first baseman that can hit in the middle of the order. I think definitely maybe pursuing an infielder would be important, but I think obviously you need to look into more pressing issues like your pitching and potentially an outfielder first.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. What about moving Biggio potentially to the outfield? I know they tried that a bit last year, but what if they move him to, say, right field, get rid of Hernandez, or maybe move Hernandez to DH full time, and then bring in like a middle infielder to play alongside of Bichette? Do you think that helps them in the future? Like they might do that when Austin Martin gets here finally, and he takes over the shortstop role. Or even Austin Martin could play center fielder. He could be the guy. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can look at it. But do you think Biggio is an infielder for sure? Or do you think he could ultimately be an outfielder, at some point?
I think definitely he could be an outfielder at some point. I think Austin Martin is going to more likely be a center fielder type player than an infielder.
Okay.
Just from watching him play in college. I think moving Biggio to the outfield would probably just magnify a problem that they already have. Now they're looking for two infielders and not one, because Biggio can play the infield, and you get to keep his bat there, which I think is better than VR's and Espinal's.
For sure.
Hernandez, I think I like his defense. It's all right. For a corner outfielder.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Definitely not.
Last year, no, but this year he was better.
Yeah, definitely not moving into center, but for a corner outfielder, it's passable.
Okay.
I do like his bat better than Grichuk's, even though he's very prone to strike out. But it is what it is when you get a big power bat like that. Obviously, he's up there in home runs for the league this year. But I do think they would need to do something else before they moved Biggio to the outfield. They would need to sign an infielder to kind of lock up that spot in the infield before they move, a starting infielder into a corner outfield spot.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think, there's no reason to rush that. Maybe if it gets to that point where Austin Martin is that infielder, then you move Biggio to the outfield. But, I mean, looking ahead to the future now, and you think that Martin's going to be that center fielder for them, then you'd have Gurriel and Martin on the left side. And I think that's pretty good. They just got to find that other guy on the right. But you talked about pitching now, and they got to add pitching. Ryu's a lock. Pearson's going to be a lock in the rotation. Then they got like Shoemaker, Taijuan Walker, some other guys. Do you think Walker's going to come back next year and be a stable in the rotation, or do you think they're going to have to find someone else as an upgrade?
I think he could be a quality number 5 starter.
Number 5, okay.
I don't think he's gonna carry a rotation. I think he can eat a lot of innings up and pitch some quality innings, but I do think they need somebody that can still come out and give them a real good chance to win a baseball game off the mound. I do think Pearson should probably start his career in the bullpen where he doesn't have to worry about throwing 5 or 6 innings. He can come out and throw the ball 102 miles an hour in the 7th inning and try to blow people away. I think eventually, though, he will move into the starting rotation. And at that point, it's just seeing how his arm holds up, seeing if he can, extend that bullpen outing into a starter's role.
Wow. Okay, that's an interesting take because I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the media, at least, have him penciled in as the number 2 guy behind Ryu to start next year. So that's a pretty good take, I guess. And then yeah, they have Shoemaker, who will be back next year, probably unless something else happens. Do you know any of the free agents that might be coming up? Trevor Bauer is a big name. Do you think the Jays should look at him potentially, or some other guys that might be on your mind to bring in next year?
I think if I'm looking at the Blue Jays, I think they need to be a little bit realistic with the type of pitching they can bring in for the money that they have. I think Trevor Bauer is going to pull a massive amount of money that the Blue Jays just don't have to give up. It would be great if they could get him, but I just don't think that they have the money to do that. Obviously, there's guys like Stroman if they want to bring him back.
No,
But
I don't think so. Not if Atkins and Shapiro are still here. Then no way.
But I mean, there are interesting picks. I think the Blue Jays are going to have to get a bit of a sleeper pick. They're not going to be signing another Ryu who's top of the league in ERA or strikeouts. It's just not going to happen with how much money's going around the league right now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get Bauer. And also, I don't really know if I want them to. Like, I know he's a great pitcher, but he also carries like a really big attitude as well. And like on Twitter, he always says some crazy stuff. And even on the mound, he's pretty animated. He's kind of like Marcus Stroman. And I don't think the Jays management kind of wants a guy like that, especially with so many young guys around. So it might be a good idea to just pass on him and not give him the money contract like you were saying, because he will get paid. I think he might go to the Yankees. They give him like a monster deal, or a team like the Dodgers even, because these guys are stacked already. But if the Dodgers don't win this year, they're going to want to go out and get another starting pitcher. And the Yankees, they're already eliminated. They got to add to their rotation. I think that Bauer is also another name that they could look at. But there's so many free agent pitchers that are pretty good this year. Walker is a free agent, so the Jays might not even bring him back. Stroman, like you said. Robbie Ray, who the Jays got at the deadline last year, they're going to have to re-sign him if they choose to. I don't think he was that good, though. So I don't know if it's worth it. But, like, Jake Odorizzi's there. Rich Hill is there. Jay Happ. There's some guys. I think the Jays need to add at least 2 of them, and then continue to add to the bullpen as well. Maybe find their closer of the future, and then maybe a setup man, because I don't think Rafael Dolis is the guy. Do you think Pearson is going to be set up?
I think he could definitely be. But like I said, I think he'll move into a starter's role eventually,
Right.
a big name prospect like that. I think a setup role could be good for him, maybe next year, a year or two, but eventually he will be a starter.
Okay. How close are the Jays, in your opinion, to winning a World Series? Because, hey, they won the ALDS 2 years in a row, 2015 and 2016. Right? Yeah, 2015, 2016. Leafs were 2016. They made the playoffs, right? Yeah. How close are they to winning now?
Couple years off, few years off. They're still a little ways away. I mean, if you think back to when they were winning the ALDS, they had some MVP caliber players, and not just one. They had a couple, in Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion. So I think you need to give the young guys a little bit more time to develop into that, hopefully. And then obviously you need some pitching to come around out of the farm system and within the program. And then if you can add a big free agent name like a rental like we did with David Price, I think they definitely have a shot, but still a few years off. This still is a rebuild for them. So I don't think they should try to rush anything right now by going out and signing some big names. I think they should focus more on development within the farm system for now anyway. And then as they're getting closer and more competitive within the AL East, I think then you can go out and spend a little bit of money and try to make some noise.
So you wouldn't say the Jays should go out and try and get a big name center fielder this year by trading away a guy like Jordan Groshans, who you formerly played with?
I don't think so this year. I don't think it would be worth it to give up obviously a first round pick like that, who has a chance to come in and potentially be a starting third baseman for this team.
Right.
I don't think it's worth it right now. If they were a little closer, maybe, but I mean, especially with them being in the American League East, where you got a massive spender in the New York Yankees and the Rays, who I think are a massively slept upon team that are very, very good. I just don't think it's the time right now.
Yeah, I agree. It's better to wait a few more years at least. And these young guys are good. You know, you might not even need to go out and get a guy like Guerrero. He might turn into that MVP caliber player that you were talking about. Bichette, they have two guys right there. Do you think Biggio is ever going to get to that level of Bichette and Guerrero? Or do you think you still see him as a guy who can hit like 260 every year, has a high OBP? Or do you think he can like really just explode, hit over 300 and have, 30 plus home run seasons?
I don't ever see a 30 plus home run season out of him. I do like him as a leadoff hitter though because of his OBP, and I
Right.
like Bichette hitting second, who can hit a gap more consistently. But I don't ever want to look at Biggio as kind of the forgotten piece of those three because he's very good at baseball. He can put a team on his back for a game and carry them to a win, and you saw that a couple times this year. He was putting up 3-4 hits in a game, and I think you know maybe not a career consistent 300 hitter, but close. Definitely higher than a a 260 270, I think. And when you mix that with the on base percentage, I think a very good leadoff hitter for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think so too. He's got that great OBP, walks a lot. I think he's a solid leadoff hitter for them. Um, I don't know what else we should talk about now. I guess we can move on to some hockey. Do you want to say anything else about the Jays? Talk about any other thing?
No, I think we covered everything pretty well for them for this season, anyway.
Yeah, for this and looking ahead to next year and
Yeah.
into the off season. Oh, I have one more question. Charlie Montoyo, do you think he is the guy? Do you think he is the manager to lead them back to the ALDS, ALCS? What are your thoughts on him? Because there's a lot of mixed feelings right now for Jays Nation.
It's tough to say after only a 60-game season and him coming in the year before.
Yeah.
And it's tough to say with any manager. I mean, you could hire a big name manager and the team just not pan out and the team just not play well. So it is tough to say. I do think that he could be the guy just because he has started managing while the team is still very young. So if they can grow as he grows, I think the chemistry there can be great. But it's all something that we have to see as the team starts to get better.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's kind of like I don't really want to say Mike Babcock, but I think Babcock was brought in to help the young guys and like help with the rebuild to start. I think that's why Montoyo was brought in as well. He was known for like the player development, managing well with guys who are in the minors. But at some point, maybe the Jays are struggling to take it to the next level and make it to the World Series. Maybe they keep losing in the ALDS, for example, and they finally decide to make the change to bring in a guy who is, a better manager. Because I don't think Montoyo is the best manager. He's more of just like a mentor, and he's good with the young guys. But like when it comes to like his lineup decisions and pitching changes and stuff like that, I don't think he's the greatest. So maybe they do look for an upgrade, but that's later on, I guess. So, yeah, let's move on to NHL.
Sure.
NHL free agency started on Friday, and the big fish, Alex Pietrangelo, did not sign yet with anyone. Torrey Krug, though, he's going to St. Louis. I don't know if you saw that one. That's a pretty big signing for the Blues. Pietrangelo said that he was pretty shocked that the Blues actually did that. So now Pietrangelo, he doesn't know where he's going. The Blues will definitely not sign him. Doesn't look like the Leafs are going to get him. The Bruins might get him potentially, which would really suck. They got some cap space now because they lost Krug. They also have to sign like Jake DeBrusk, some other guys, so who knows. But let's talk about the guy that the Leafs signed first, and that's Wayne Simmons, Scarborough, Ontario native. Do the Leafs need more veterans in the bottom six, in your opinion? Because they got the studs up front, Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander, but they're missing some physicality. They're missing some veterans. That's kind of why they got Simmons. Do you think they need some more of that?
I think they could use maybe one more. I love the Simmons signing. I think he could end up being, a top six guy that gets out there with the real skill guys and goes and clears the way for them.
Okay.
So I do really like the Simmons signing. I think they do have some veterans. I mean, they re-signed Spezza, who's not going to be a huge part of the team, I don't think. But locker room presence, I think, is going to be great from him. So if they could go out and find, a pretty cheap veteran that can help the young guys out, help them grow a little bit more, I do think it would help a lot. But at the same time, I mean, the young guys are starting to get not that young, you know what I mean? They've been in the league for a while. They've been to some playoffs. They played a lot of games. I think, this is the time where they either start to figure it out or don't.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're right about that. And I don't know if they're going to be able to figure it out on their own. So I think they have to go out and get these veterans. I think that's why they did it. Like, they traded away Kasperi Kapanen. They traded away Andreas Johnsson. They're moving on from some of these young guys to bring in more vets. Like, yeah, you mentioned Spezza. Like, good thing they brought him back because he was probably the guy who was most, hurt or upset that they lost to Columbus in that series. And he's obviously from the area. He wants to be a part of it. Do you think they should trade one of the big four? Mostly Marner or Nylander, because I don't think they're touching Matthews or Tavares.
I think if they did, they would have to bring in something pretty incredible, and I think it would have to be a defenseman, like a stud defenseman. But I don't see them trading any of those four, not this season anyway, especially, how this season played out where they have that huge break in the middle and, they're kind of out of rhythm for the playoffs or maybe weren't out of rhythm, whatever it may be. They didn't end up winning.
Nope.
But I don't see them touching any of those four for this season. And if they did in the future, I think they would have to bring in a big name defenseman or a couple players to fill that gap.
Yeah. I think, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I think the Marner contract is really a big overpayment, like paying a guy who can really only put up the assists. He's not really known for scoring goals. Giving him almost $11 million is quite a lot. I like the Nylander contract, though. What are your thoughts on the Nylander contract? Because he's making less than $7 million. He can score 30 goals.
I like the Nylander contract. I like that they were able to get him back.
Yeah. That was quite something.
I do think that the Marner contract it was well earned by him. I do think it is a little bit of an overpayment, but you have to, in his defense, you have to give him credit to say that he did earn that. But I definitely like the Nylander one because, like you said, he can put up some goals. I think more than Marner. And I feel like he's also a little bit more physical than Marner as well, which is what this team is leaning towards a little bit. Obviously, they're both skill players, and neither of them are gonna, put somebody into the boards in the corner all the time. But I do think a little bit more than Marner. Nylander can get into the corner and bang. But
that's probably the first compliment I've heard of Nylander being a physical player in some way. It's he's better than Marner. Yeah. But still, though, we don't really talk about physicality with those two guys. But Yeah, I guess I could see that. I would say Marner's a lot better defensively, though.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Blocking shots, he can play penalty kill. Nylander doesn't really like to back check too much. But I think he's developing into that player, maybe especially more with Sheldon Keefe now. He can get a lot more out of him. Let's talk about the second Leaf signing that came in the evening yesterday. TJ Brodie, left shot defenseman, but he can play the right side. The Leafs have a ton of guys who can play or who shoot left-handed, but not too many that play the right side. And Brodie has played the right side his whole career with Mark Giordano in Calgary, and going back to the OHL as well. He would always play the right side. So he's probably going to slot in at first, playing alongside of Morgan Rielly on the top pair. So you got Rielly and Brodie. Then on the second pair, you got Muzzin. And as of right now, it's probably Justin Hall. And then the third pair is like Mikko Lehtinen. I don't know if you even know that name, but they signed him from Russia. One of the best KHL defensemen, actually. And then maybe Travis Dermott, who's going to play the offside. Are you satisfied with that defensive core?
No. I mean, like straight up, no. The Leafs definitely need to add some defense. The top pair, I love the top pair. Morgan Rielly and TJ Brodie are legitimate NHL defensemen. Yes. And obviously Brodie getting a pretty big deal in free agency. I think it's reasonable because so many other teams are after him. A top quality defenseman like that. And I think he's going to have to come in and have a pretty big impact. But him and Rielly, I think, legitimate NHL defensemen. But they do need to add to it still. I do like Muzzin, but they need something else there on the back end.
Yeah, I think, are you looking for more of a physical guy, who can play defense, can play the penalty kill like that? Or do you think they should just continue to add to their offense and go after a guy who can get the puck up the ice and be mobile in the offensive zone?
I think they need a stay-at-home defenseman type, a more physical defenseman that can sort of lock things down. Because obviously you got Brodie and Rielly who are pretty free-willed, move around the ice, move the puck, pretty offensive, right? And then obviously you got a super high-powered offense that can really, really produce when they get, on the power play, when they get moving like that. So I think they need somebody that can kind of settle things down when they need to lock it down towards the end of the game.
Yeah, they really need a Zach Bogosian or a Luke Shen or something. They should not have gotten rid of him. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I agree. I think there's some good options in free agency or via trade as well. I don't know if you know the name, but Mackenzie Weegar on Florida on the Panthers. He's been in talks recently. The Leafs might trade for him. He needs a contract as well, but he's a young guy. He's only 26 years old. He plays over 20 minutes a night. He can play the penalty kill. He can fight as well if they need him to. I think he would be a great add. I kind of hope they get him. They could play him alongside of Jake Muzzin because he plays the right side. He shoots right-handed. Thank God the Leafs might actually get a guy who can shoot right-handed. But they made a trade today before the podcast started, about maybe 20 minutes before. Andreas Johnsson was traded to the New Jersey Devils in exchange for Joey Anderson. And, I don't know if you have your thoughts on this trade right now, but I'm going to say mine. The Leafs got nothing in return for this. I don't think Joey Anderson is going to be anything, to be honest. I think it was strictly a cap dump. He could prove me wrong. He has, this is the only stat I like. He would average more goals over an 82 game season than Andreas Johnsson would. But that's the only stat that I like from him. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this trade. I know it kind of just happened.
I think the cap dump could be, I think this trade could be very useful if they end up using that cap space for something this season. If that does happen, then this trade could look pretty genius, I think. Yeah. Getting rid of a good amount of money. I do agree. I don't think Anderson will do much for this team next year. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll surprise us, but as of right now, I mean, I don't think so. But like I said, if the salary that has been cleared up, the salary cap that has been cleared up is used for something, then I think maybe, this could be worth it.
I mean, the thing is, they only have like $2 million in cap space. Before this trade, they were actually above the salary cap. So they had to make it to at least go down. But they only have like 2 mil. So it's not too much to work with. If you were to pick off another guy on the Leafs roster to trade, whether that be just on their playing style you don't like or the salary cap situation, who would you trade?
I would actually end up trading one of the big four, because obviously they're all getting paid a lot of money, and if they could trade one of them for a big time defenseman, I think this team would be so much better off. Obviously, I think it's pretty far fetched to say that they'll do that, to trade a huge name like that, like a Matthews, Tavares, Marner, Nylander type of player.
Would you trade Matthews though? Like personally, do you think the Leafs would ever even consider that? Because Matthews is on another level than the other two guys, at least you mentioned, in Nylander and Marner. Tavares and Matthews, in my opinion, are like in another category.
I don't think they would ever trade Matthews, not right now, just because of his production. And I don't think they would ever trade Tavares because of what he brings to the locker room. I mean, obviously, fantastic on-ice player, but, he's the captain of the Islanders. He's got a lot of NHL experience and, a good locker room presence. I don't think they could ever trade him. But, I mean, if I were to do something, I would definitely, try and trade one of those guys for a big-time defenseman, and try and improve a little bit, add a little bit of defense to the Toronto.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think if I had to pick one of the four, I would take Marner, just because I think you would as well, just because the money, it's crazy. And they could get a lot back. Obviously, they could get a big name defenseman. But I mean, as of right now, I'm not satisfied with the decor. But I think if they can add one more top four defenseman to play alongside of Muzzin, then it's pretty good, because you got Riley, Brodie, Muzzin, and then the other guy, and then the bottom pair can be like Mikko Lehtinen, who is a dark horse. I think he could be pretty good for them. He has some offensive upside to him. And then you have Justin Hall. And then you move on from a guy like Travis Dermott, I think. I think Justin Hall I think he slots in perfectly on the bottom pair, because he plays well in sheltered minutes. We saw it when Muzzin was out, when Riley was out. He didn't really strive playing. I think he played on the top pair. I think one game it was Dermott and Hall on the top pair, and that just didn't work out at all. But I think if you could put him on the top or on the bottom pair, then it's going to work out a lot better. Then play him on like the second penalty kill unit as well. I think that's like a better role for Justin Hall. I want to talk about the Kapanen trade a little bit too. What were your thoughts on that trade? Do you think they lost a little bit of edge to their game by trading away Cappy?
I do. I liked him.
Yeah.
I did like him. I think they did lose a little bit there. But like I said with the Janssen trade, I think if you can end up getting something back indirectly from it in the future, I think any trade can pay off. But I do think like right away, immediately, I do think they lost something there, because Kapanen did bring something to the Leafs that I think they needed a little bit. Yeah. But it's not something that they can't get back.
No, I agree. Like Kyle Dubas has been saying in his interviews that like he wants the Leafs to be harder to play against. That's like his offseason priority. But trading away Kapanen goes completely against that, because he was really one of the only forwards who would get in your face, would be physical on the forecheck. He's one of the guys who would chirp more on the Leafs as well. So you're losing a little bit of that feistiness to the game. But if you look at like the return for that trade, getting a first round pick, getting Amirov that they drafted, getting Philip Hallander, who might be a top 9 forward in the future for them, I think they got value back for the future, and it might pay off. But if you look ahead to next year, they're definitely losing something with the Kapanen trade. So
I do also think though that with the picks coming back, that is something that they can also move for a rental player closer to the deadline if they see they need something.
for sure.
But I also think that the Wayne Simmons deal kind of fills that space that they lost with Kapanen. So, I mean, like I said, right when it happened, sure, they lost a little bit, but they do have a chance to make that up in the future.
And you said that you want to see Simmons in the top 6. Is that right?
I think that would be great if they put him with some really skilled players that, you know, he can clear the way. He can kind of do the dirty work for them. Obviously, he can score a little bit too, but it might get a little bit overlooked when you're playing with a Marner or a Nylander, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think if he can clear the ice for them, I think they can do some pretty incredible things.
That's interesting. I haven't really thought about that. I was expecting Simmons to just come in and be a 4th line, maybe 3rd line at most. But that's a cool way of looking at it. Like, also kind of shows you that you can't really be hitting Matthews. You can't really be hitting Tavares or Nylander or Marner when Simmons is on the ice, because he's going to be right there to hit you right back.
Yeah.
So that's a good presence to have on a line. And I mean, definitely look for him on the power play, because he's one of the best guys in the league at being a net front presence on the power play, and he can bang in a lot of goals in front of the net. I would say him and maybe James Van Riemsdyk are 2 of the best in the league at doing that stuff from in close. He does a good job of screening the goalie and stuff. So yeah, it's a great signing. One year, $1.5 million. You can't really go wrong with it. I think the Leafs might be done in free agency now. They're kind of adding some like depth guys now. They added, I forget his first name, something Boyd. Starts with a T. Travis Tyler, something like that. Something Boyd from Washington, but he's just a depth center. But I think there's going to be some more trades. In my opinion, I think they're going to trade Alex Kerfoot, 3rd line center. He's making Janssen money. I think it's time to move on from him, just to clear a bit more cap space, and then go after the defenseman, the top 4 defensemen. I say either Mackenzie Weegar or maybe Matt Dumba. That would be crazy if they got him. Yeah.
I don't know if you just saw as well, the Leafs signed Bogosian for a
Are you
year.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, that was
So
43
they did
minutes
sign
ago. Oh my
Bogosian. I think obviously pretty huge ad there. A pretty stay-at-home guy.
Yo, that's jokes. I actually said his name too, right?
Yeah. So I think obviously a huge ad there. I don't think they need a guy like Dumba. Obviously, he wouldn't hurt the team, but I think we have similar type players on the blue line right now with Brodie and Riley.
Right.
I think that I do think it is time to move on from Kerfoot. You know,
I mean, that trade was just horrible.
depending on what they can get back or what they can clear for him. But I do think they should be moving on from him now.
Jeez, 1-year deal, $1 million for Bogosian, 30-year-old stay-at-home defenseman. That's what we were saying. This guy's gonna play. They signed him to a 1-year, $1 million contract, so you can't really bury that. Like, he's got to play now.
Got to play, and I think he should.
Yeah, I mean, definitely he was great on Tampa during the playoff run and locker room presence. I'm excited for Zach Bogosian. Like, I can't wait for the memes. I got to open up Instagram and see all these Bogo memes. I don't know if you follow that, like Bogo Norris on Instagram. No?
No.
But they like the bio for that Instagram account is like supporting all teams besides the Leafs or something like that. So now he's on the Leafs. That's got to be jokes. I like the signing. $1 million is, I guess that's the right amount. That's the right amount for him. He'll probably play top 6. I think this means that Travis Dermott is gone. I think they're going to trade him.
Unfortunately, I liked him. I like Travis Dermott. I think if they could get rid of like a bottom pair type of guy and keep Dermott, I think that would be great. But I do think it will end up being Dermott. that will go. As for the $1 million for Bogosian, I think it's a little steep, but they
Mm-hmm.
definitely need it.
Yeah.
You can't deny that they need a stay-at-home defenseman that can eat up a lot of minutes as they get into like a playoff run. And I think that's something that this team absolutely needed to do.
I mean, yeah, he just won a Stanley Cup. He knows how to win clearly now. And he's only 30. I thought he was a bit older. But that's a pretty good age. I do agree that it might be a little bit steep, the money, and they could have got him for maybe like league min, like $800K. Maybe there were some other teams that were looking at him, then the Leafs really wanted him, so they gave him a little bit more money. But I like the signing. That's a good signing. Yeah, and he's going to play. He's going to play in the top six. So, yeah, I like the moves that Kyle's doing. I really do. Harder to play against. Zach Bogosian is a good fit. So, Ethan, you got anything else you want to say on the Leafs and any other predictions you want to make or anything about them moving forward?
No, I don't like making predictions about the Leafs.
Just don't want to be disappointed.
Honestly, they could sign Wayne Gretzky, and I wouldn't believe they were good until they started winning hockey games.
Hey, that's pretty fair. Yeah, that's right. Like, even if they got Alex Pietrangelo, like, still, they might not be that good. So, I mean, yeah, we'll see what the Leafs can do next year, and, hopefully they don't disappoint us again because, hey, we deserve it. As Leafs fans, we definitely deserve a cup at some point, and it would be nice to see if fans were in the stadiums or in the arenas as well when they won eventually. So,
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully by then there will be fans and this pandemic will be over. So yeah, I think that really wraps up the show. When you're heading back to school, you were talking about it earlier. You said January?
At the latest January, hopefully a little bit earlier just to get down there, but at the latest January.
Okay, cool. So how's the team doing right now? Have you been keeping up with them?
Yeah, they're just playing, scrimmages.
Scrimmages. Okay.
Yeah, games don't count right now, but they're doing well. Supposedly we got a pretty good team down there. So I'm excited to get back and meet them all and, get to work.
Is it going to be like a full season, you think? There's not going to be any changes?
Should be, yeah.
Right.
I mean, obviously a lot can change in the next couple months, but as of right now, everything is supposed to go as planned.
All right, sick. Is there like a platform that we can watch the games on or keep track of the games? Anything you'd recommend for people living here?
We live stream all our games just on the school's website. And then obviously stats are posted post game to our website as well as the national website. So you can always keep track of it. The live streams, the quality's not great. I mean, it's college baseball, so what can you do? But yeah, always ways to keep track if that's something you'd like to do.
Okay, nice. Do you have like a play-by-play guy, commentator, etc. down there doing the live stream, or is it just like no
video.
audio? Just video?
There's audio, but it's just game audio.
Right. And like
so
fans.
You can hear the fans, you can hear the sounds, but just no play-by-play.
Geez, you really need some like sport media program at your school to get you going there.
Yeah, fortunately, it's a pretty small school,
Right.
which is a lot like a lot of the other schools in the conference. I think only one school has play-by-play. It's just a local radio guy. So
okay, nice. Hey, shout out to him. That's good. Well, yeah, that really does it for the show. Ethan, thank you very much for coming on and talking. A lot of good stuff. It was a really, really good show. And good luck to everything moving forward with draft coming up next year. You have 2 more years, right? 2 more years to get drafted?
3 more.
3 more years?
Because last year got basically canceled.
Oh, that's perfect. So that increases your shot as well. And then always you could sign as a undrafted free agent as well to a team, potentially.
Always, yeah.
So, yeah, all the best to you. Great player, great person. Shout out to you for coming on. Thank you very much. Yeah, no problem. And yeah, for you guys listening, watching on Spotify or YouTube, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button again, like the video, comment down below who you guys want me to get on next or future topics, etc. Follow at Unlimited Pod on Instagram. We will be back next week. See you guys later. Take care and peace.